Imagine you are here. It is the 13th century, and you are a nameless defender of a besieged city. Look down at your hands. Your fingertips are numb from days of sleeplessness, and your gut twists as if hollowed out by hunger. In movies, we see the glorious victories of knights defending the walls. But the reality is far from romantic. A siege is not a grand duel of honor. It is a visceral survival game fueled by starvation, filth, and desperate deception. Movies show soldiers pouring boiling oil. But as you lift the vat, your commander stops you with a roar. "Stop, you fool! That's our last meal!" In reality, oil was worth more than gold. It was pure survival. In a starving city, to waste it on the enemy is to choose death by hunger. Here, oil isn't a weapon. It's the only thing keeping you standing for one more day. Instead, you prepared sand. Pour red-hot, glowing sand into the enemy's helmets. As it seeps through the links of their chainmail, the searing grains will trap the heat against their skin, inflicting an agony that steals the very breath for a scream. A siege was never about justice. It was an efficient collection of ways to torture the enemy. Next day, the enemy begins to launch boulders. But they aren't just aiming for the stone walls. They are launching carcasses of livestock, rotted by the plague, and sometimes the heads of your captured brothers. Before they even breach the gates, they intend to flood the city with infection. You are no longer fighting steel. You are fighting an invisible army of germs. This is the true face of a siege. Not a display of brilliant swordsmanship, but a desperate prayer to survive until morning while enduring the suffocating stench of decay. The chaotic day has passed, and night falls. You catch a brief moment of breath. But then, a faint sound reaches your ears. What is that? Right beneath your feet, dozens of enemies are hollowing out the earth. A wall collapses from below, not above. They will fill the tunnel with wooden beams soaked in pig fat. One spark, and the foundation of your world will crumble into ash. You must find the sound of their pickaxes in the darkness. If you fail, you won't see the sunrise. You will simply be another corpse, crushed beneath 20 tons of falling stone. You survived the night. Congratulations, you held the fortress. But within these walls, not a single rat or leather boot remains. History records that in the final stages of a siege, even human flesh was traded for survival. You are not a victor. You are a survivor who has barely crawled out of hell. Now another war for survival begins. The grand cinematic battles we admire never existed. The gaps in these towering walls we praise today are filled with the blood and hunger of nameless soldiers. If you were a defender in the 13th century, could you still hold your post on that wall? If you were the one on the battlements, what would you be willing to sacrifice to save your city?